Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the review with Heather's Passion Academy. And I am Heather of Heather's Passion Academy. And today we are reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville. And this is season 8. We are still in season 8, episode 9. The title of today's episode is Beyond Scared Stormy. I guess that's what they call it. Yeah, these episode names. Can I help y'all with those? Because I don't like any of the episode names. I don't know who's naming them, but please put something else together. This is not it. But let's keep going because this is a very filler type episode. Yeah, let's do it. So the episode opens up with Stormy at home with her glam squad preparing to turn herself in. Um, and she's trying to get herself together. And what she says in the confessional, if you're gonna turn yourself in, you gotta look good. And I agree. If you're gonna turn yourself in, you have to turn yourself in. At least get you a glam squad. Get you a glam a glam squad together so that you can have a nice looking mugshot. So just do it. She had Courtney to take the baby on to school so he wouldn't have to see her being upset. She and her team are talking about, her breaking down and, how you got to have a good mindset for things like this. But then, she's trying to hold it together. She tried because she feels like a lot of this stuff is asinine. And she just goes ahead and breaks on down when Courtney's mom comes into the room to comfort her. And she says she dropped everything to be there for her. And you can tell they have a really good, caring relationship. Um, she's relieved. You can tell that she has the support of her mother-in-law there, and because her own mother told her that's what she get for being on TV, and I need her mama to stop that. So on to the next scene. I did take a screenshot of this top that Destiny has on, a outfit. I don't like it, and I want her to burn it. I don't like it. Don't wear it. No, don't wear it no more. Don't wear it no more. So anyway, Destiny, Tricia, and Tisha meet up to talk about the Lovers and Friends Gala while making candles. And Destiny is saying, well, she's getting some research done basically because she's starting a candle line. So this is a good way to let us know that there are some products coming if they're not already out. I don't know. I didn't look it up and I'm not going to. So Destiny and Trisha and Tisha, yeah, these names. Ooh, they talk about the Lovers and Friends Gala, how Trisha was all nervous. They talked about how Sunny uh, came up to Destiny and asked her, did she want to have a conversation? And she told her absolutely not. And that, they went on and had a little bit of a conversation, even though she didn't want to. Um, Her thing is she thinks that Sunny is actually intimidated by her and the relationship that she had with Moses, even though Sunny is like, no, he had many women. And she like, yeah, but if he had many women with me, he had many women with you, same thing. You can't tell that girl nothing. Don't even talk about it. Don't even worry about it. But she was like, but you the one with the ring, right? So I mean, why would you be worried about trying to get all this stuff together? Because it's a TV show. That's why. And it ain't nothing else for y'all to talk about. And that's the only way the three of y'all gonna be on this show this season is to talk about this pitiful little dead horse that's been beat way too many times. But anyway, they ask her, well, Tisha says, do you think you could still get him right now? She says, absolutely, without a question. And my thing is, I mean, Moses is for the streets. So do we? Yeah, okay. I wouldn't worry about it. I just wouldn't worry about it. On the bigger and better, right? Okay. Next scene, Stormy and Courtney are leaving the courthouse, and she says her experience wasn't as bad as she thought it would be. She and Courtney talk about her mother not calling her. And she was like, "Well, I ain't got nothing more to say to my mom." But Courtney is like, "Look, you need to call her and get it off your chest and tell her how you feel." And I have a feeling that she tends to be one of those people that just kind of bottle things up a lot and don't really address the issue, especially when it comes to her mom, because her mom doesn't seem like she is receptive to having those types of conversations anyway. And so she's just like, I'm just used to this is just like another thing. So that kind of lets me know that she's used to her mom not being supportive or being present in her life when it comes to things like that that are hard and where you would think that a parent would come in and support you. And the other thing is she just continues to say hurtful things to her instead of encouraging her when she is, feeling low. And that's really sad for her. And I want them to fix that. So in the next scene, we're over at Tricia's place, and she's thinking about the conversation that she and Ken had about her filing for divorce. Because he says that he is not going to propose to her until he gets them papers going and there's a finalized divorce happening. So she had a conversation with her kids regarding the possibility of marrying Ken. Just know, y'all, if y'all hear a 2 year old in the background, a baby in the background, it's my 2 year old. And she thinks she's part of this production. Just want y'all to know that. I won't be stopping. But anyway, she had a conversation with her kids regarding the possibility of marrying Ken. They seem to be in favor of it. They say that she looks happier. She seems to be in better spirits. She seems to be softer around him. And so her son's like, I love to see you happy. So, I'm all for it. And so she feels encouraged enough to have her sister over, and they have a conversation regarding her relationship with Ken as well. And from what I'm understanding, she doesn't really talk to them about a lot of things because they tend to be more judgmental and in favor of her just staying married with the person that they know. And that's not what she wants to do. So her sister comes over and they have a conversation. Um, about the whole relationship because she hasn't shared anything with any of them. The other things, I didn't know that there were 6 siblings. I guess I thought that when she was talking about her sister died and everything was over for her, that it really sounded like to me that it was just her and one sibling, but there's a total of 6. So very interesting. But she tells this sister that she and Ken have been living together for a year. And her sister's like, "Wait, so how long you and the ex been separated?" And she was like, "For 4 years." And she was like, "What? 4 years? How what the huh? What?" And so, yeah, I'm like, "This girl don't talk to nobody. Girl, who do you she don't tell. No, she is really secret squirrel." Um, so this sister is like, confused why they hadn't been told anything. But listening to their conversation, I can tell why she would have a little bit of trepidation of sharing any information with that sister or any of them. I don't know the rest. I hadn't seen the rest of them because they don't seem like they have a more of a listening ear. They sound like they just more judgmental. But she said that they're a little bit more judgmental. And so she was like, "Well, I thought that you were just going to be, playing around with this dude, that you was gonna get back with your husband." She was like, "That was never the plan. I don't know where you got that from. Not happening. Ain't gonna happen, okay?" And so she assures her that, she will not be back with that ex. Um, and so like they're talking about how the parents were together for 38 years and they had 6 kids and they're still together. And I'm like, yeah, there are people that are together for 38 years, have 6 kids, and are miserable. But because of all those years and all that judgment, they are going to stay together. Then there are people who have been together long enough to know this is not going to be a long-term thing. And those people will break up. And that's okay. Both ways, if it works for you, works for you. And so it doesn't have to be their story doesn't have to be hers and her story doesn't have to be theirs. Just that simple. But the sister brings up that she's like, "Well, you guys have been together since high school." And that was like, "What?" And she's like, "Well, like 14 years." And she's like, "But you don't love him anymore." And she was like, "Well, I have love for him. I mean, I have love for you. Doesn't mean I'm in love with you." you know, and she says she doesn't want to be unhappy. And as soon as she starts talking about Ken, she lights up and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm so in love and happy and blah blah blah." I'm like, as the sister, you should see that there is a change in the demeanor when she brings up the different people. So she's like, both of us came to the conclusion that, we got married because we had kids, and it's pretty much it. Basically, this relationship has run its course. So the sis says, I wish you had told me, wish you had come to me, but, well, ultimately, your happiness does matter to me. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That should have been number one. But anyway, y'all know how family is sometimes. But anyway, in the next scene, Courtney has invited Ken, Chris, and Martell out to the bowling alley. They trying to get their bowl on. They doing all their little, you know, smack talking or whatever they do. And um one thing that Courtney says, he won't be sharing with them anything about Stormi turning herself in, because it's none of their business. I totally agree, and I'm glad that he didn't make this conversation about, well, this is what we've been doing. That's none of their business. If they asked him, maybe. Anyway, once Ken comes in, Martell is like, "Oh, this is my chance to just try to see where you let me pick your brain and try to see what's going on with you." Um, I don't have no trust on what Martell want to know. Like, when he started prying for information, we all know what he trying to do. You know, he just strikes me as the kind that does a lot of kissing and a lot of telling, because he wants you to know, you know. And the way he was talking in the last episode, he likes to allude to a lot of things too. So it may not even be true. He just wants you to think it could be true. I don't like that. Anyway, so they were talking about, Martell was not participating as a model. And he said he ain't got himself together enough to look like Ken. So then Ken was like, "Oh, by the way, by the by, um, Trisha was upset because you act like you ain't know her." And he was like, "Well, see, I ain't recognize her," and all this type of stuff, you know, whatever. Um, and so he's talking about, "Well, where did you know her from?" And he's like, "Well, I know her through my brother." But what she say? How she say she knew me? And see, this is how you know he finna be on some BS, because he started that little stuff. How she say she know me? Um, and so, they're going back and forth. They like, "Well, where did you meet her at? Since you don't know her through your brother, where you meet her at?" And he went out. Uh-uh. Not at all. I don't trust this conversation. I don't trust the interaction at all. I don't trust it. And so he's spinning this story back and forth, and he's like, um, everybody can tell that there is something that's not quite right with this conversation, because it's a lot of spin happening. It's a lot of spin happening. Courtney is all like, Martell ain't telling the whole story. We all can see this, that he is not telling the entire story. We know this, but we're gonna see if y'all know. Ken says, even if something did happen before him, he doesn't care. And Martell took the time to say, well, let me say it this way. He's trying to figure out a way to, in my opinion, get a lot of information to see where he can take this conversation about his relationship, or how he really knows Trisha. That's what I think. I think he's just trying to nose around and see how much does Ken really know. Anyway, um, then he's like, "Oh, well," Chris is like, "Well, are y'all engaged?" And Ken is like, "Well, I hadn't asked the question because she's technically still married." So there's Martell like, "Oh, that means you a a a side dude." And those two laughing and Kiki, and I just don't deal with with those two, because I'm like, y'all are treading very thin ice very much. So anyway, they're asking him about him being ready to marry her. Is this the one for you? And he's like, yeah, that's the one for me. He was like, but they need to know if them papers gonna get signed. And he says he trusts that she's going to do what she said she's going to do, but he won't be waiting forever. And then he said, well, if it don't work, he just gonna be Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo, because that's just who he gonna be. So then Martell is like, well, I want to get married too. And, I just don't know who gonna want to accept me having 5 kids with 7 days on and 7 days off. And I'm like, I'm sure somebody out there gonna want you. Unfortunately, what they don't understand is they gonna be the ones watching them kids 7 days a week. Back at Stormy's house, she and her mom have a conversation about her wanting another child via surrogate. And then they just kind of start talking about some other things going on, and they go to the back to for Stormy to really kind of talk to her about how she felt about her mom not being there for her when she had to turn herself in. So her mom, she's telling her mom, like she didn't feel supported. And her mom is like, well, I'm not gonna hop up out of bed to be doing stuff. I'm too old for that. And she said, "Well, it wasn't that I needed you to get out the bed the next, that night, but I was turning myself in the next morning." And she's like, "Well, I have an 80-year-old mother living with me." And Stormy says, "Well, I just want to know, why do we always end up here? It seems as though we always end up here." And she lets her know it's the way that you say things. And my thing is, Betty don't care about how her words land with her daughter. She just is not a soft or nurturing person. She's just one of the people that don't want to apologize. And she says that she just needs Stormy just gonna have to learn through tough love, because one of the other things that we hadn't been here before, because Stormy has said before she was arrested at 18. So I guess her mom's looking at like, well, you gotta learn your lesson. And I'm like, the problem I have with that is that older people always seem to do that, like they've never made mistakes, or like they didn't need support when they were feeling their lowest. And the thing is, even if you didn't have the support at your lowest, you shouldn't want to have someone else feel that way. So Stormy tells her she doesn't think that she really understands that her mom hurt her feelings. And then, they're constantly discussing things from the past. And Stormy's like, basically, you don't never be there for me in the way I need you there. And honestly, I feel like sometimes Stormy's mom makes things more about her than she does about her own child. And there's a lot of back and forth where she was just saying, she doesn't feel supported. And I don't think that a lot of times her mom is hearing exactly what she said. So I agree with Stormy. Like, I don't know if they need a translator or her mom just simply doesn't care. Um, but they finally got to a point where it seems like her mom did understand what she was saying. The only other problem was she was kind of blaming everything. She was like, well, you hanging on that reality show. Yeah, you didn't listen to us. So you're going to have to sit in it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, Stormy is grown. Stormy is a grown woman. You don't get to keep disciplining your grown adult child that's in their 30s. Like, that's not your role. Now your role is to be more of a support system for the child that you had, and for, even if the decisions you don't agree with, even with her being on a reality show, you can't tell her not to be on the show. You can advise her. You can say, hey, I don't think it's a good look for you. You can say all those things, but what you can't do is be mad that she has decided to do something for herself that you don't agree with. Now, if it doesn't work out, then you say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, but I'm still here for you. Hey, I didn't like this person, blah, blah, blah. You don't go on social media and fight with castmates. You don't do that, because all this stuff, you know, is just weird. Like, a lot of them on here are complaining that they're having a lot of backlash from these different fans and everything. And while I agree that the fan base for some of these people are outrageous and wild and just need to calm down because they don't actually know these people in real life. Um, just don't go back and forth with them. It's not worth it. Um, do I think that they need to get a handle on some of their fans? Absolutely. Do I think that we need to blame everybody for everything? No. But yes, of course, I feel like if I had a group of fans that tend to go like super extreme, I would be like, "Hey guys, let's not do this. This ain't what I stand for." I think that, that can happen. Do I think that everything is that person's fault? No. And then this situation that she went to actually be booked for, it's just kind of weird anyway. It's a lot going on with that. I'm still trying to read up on it because, like I said, I be trying not to watch stuff after I watch the show, but apparently we're gonna have to. Anyway, they finally got to a point where her mom did offer an apology and they hugged on it. And their whole thing is they're trying to move forward. They're trying to figure out how to move forward. So hopefully her mom is in a place where she could actually help her daughter move forward, because it seems like all Stormy really wants from her is acceptance, support, and a couple of apologies and hugs. Like, how hard is that? This look, Betty, you're gonna have to find it within yourself to be better for your daughter. You just gonna have to. It's pitiful that she has to beg for affection from you. It's not cool. And to say that you didn't get her is neither here nor there. You need to want better for your child. Again, you should want better for your child. But it's whatever. Anyway, that's how the episode ends. And next week we're gonna see even more foolishness happening. I will come back later. There's a lot happening in this first week of July. And I do want to do a special episode just to kind of, acknowledge what's going on with one of the former castmates. So I do want to do that, but not here, not in this episode, because I want this video to be short. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. That was the end of this episode. Again, we're going to see what's going to happen in the next episode. They're going to keep bringing Stormi and Moses no matter how much we say stop showing them. We're going to still see Destiny, and we're going to see it be dumpster fire-ish, but we're going to see what's going on with everybody. Yeah, that's that on that. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and I'd totally be honored. It would be an honor for me to have you guys share, support my channel. I'm still building and I want to build with you. So please, subscribe, share this review, tell a friend, tell another friend or two or three or whatever. I'd love to do this full time. It's my thing. I like it. I hope you like it too. And yeah, we're going to keep it going. And I'll be reviewing another show on. I can't remember the name of it right now, so I'll just come back with it. But thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.